I'm going to start by labeling the relative minimums and maximums. And I'm just going to estimate these to keep it simpler. If you wanted to know the exact values, you would type the equation into your graphing calculator and do the minimum and maximum tool. So here I'm just going to approximate these as -1, 3. This would be 1, 5. And I'm going to approximate this little minimum as -0.25, comma 2.9. Again, these are not what we would expect on the quiz. We'd expect you to use the calculator, or we'd give you what these points are. These are just approximations for ease of the video. All right, so our maximums are those 2 points where our graph changes from increasing to decreasing. So those 2 points right there. So -1, 3 and 1, 5. Those 2 points would be relative maximums. And the relative minimum is where we change from decreasing to increasing. So that point -0.25, 2.9. If we want the x-intercepts, where we cross the x-axis, again, if we wanted to know exactly what these were, we'd have to type the equation in and do the 0 tool. So I'm going to approximate those two x-intercepts as, let's see, so about -2.75, 0, and 1.75, 0. Remember that they are points, so you want to write them down as points, something, 0. So intervals of increasing. If we look at the graph, on the left side, our function starts increasing. So between -infinity until the x value of -1, our function is increasing. It then decreases. So I'm going to jump to decreasing. So in green here, we then decrease this little bit. So we decrease between a domain of -1 and -0.25. Then our graph increases again until it reaches that maximum. So it then increases from that -0.25 until x is 1. At which point, after the maximum, our function decreases forever. So starting at 1, it'll then decrease as x goes to infinity. So again, you're reporting the domain over which we increase and decrease, which means that we're reporting just the x values. And last but not least, the domain and range. The domain of all polynomials is all real numbers, -infinity to infinity. And the range, in this case, we have a minimum output of -infinity. And we have outputs up to this value of 5. And we do reach a maximum of 5.